And welcome in to another episode of Shoot the Gap. I am your host, Nate Markham, and joining me on the two-man, my co-pilot for tonight in what was going to be a very elaborate trivia night is the champion of trivia night number one, Mike Wohlert. Mike, congratulations. You are the victor.
To the victor go the spoils, and I will take whatever it is that you're sending. And I guess, for people that are tuning in, I guess you're just going to hear me talk a lot. So,
well, that's, what, though? I think that's what people tune in to do anyway. They don't want to listen necessarily to me. But Jorge is on vacation with his family. Lovely, lovely time that he's having. Sean is correct. Flawless victory. But we'll see how flawless it'll be because these questions, Mike doesn't have a general knowledge of these, and they are not the easiest of questions. I try to make them somewhat simple. I don't want to have dead space of 5 minutes of him and Han trying to figure out which linebacker in 1984 led the league in missed tackles. Number one, I don't have that information. Number two, none of us would know. So it doesn't help us for IDP this year going forward. Mm-hmm. Hollywood is unfortunately away right now, helping his wife, the chivalrous thing to do, assisting his wife with duties. And yet, if there's time and he gets done, he will jump on, and I'll do speed round. And if he can answer them and catch up,
you might not
have the victory. Hey, I'm all for bending the rules when it comes to these things because, well, we can do it.
Hey, when we can frame the narrative in our way and make our arguments work in our favor, then I'm all for that.
And that is exactly how a lot of these questions are designed, is to frame a narrative to determine, are the stats actually indicative of what the player is? Should we look beyond the stats, or is there something underlying that we should pay attention to? I think that we'll have some fun. Before we start, Mike, I know you and I were talking a little bit. How's Scott Fishbowl going for you?
Oh, it's going fine. I don't hate my team. I don't like it, and it is what it is. And I'm getting, we're all getting sniped left and right. It's a fun league. It's fun. People are taking some time, chill out. It's a slow draft. Enjoy the journey, because once the draft is over, then everybody's like, oh man, I wish I was still drafting. Everybody else is still drafting. Just enjoy the journey, and like everything else, just enjoy the journey and don't worry about getting to the destination.
Exactly. We say it enough. There's more things in life to get frustrated over than a charity football league. That is, it's an honor to be a part of it. I will start drafting on Sunday here live in St. Louis with 11 other lucky members. Not all will be live, but we'll have a good mix. I can't wait to share a lot of that information. We'll try to do something live from there that I
have some barbecue.
We are going to have some barbecue. We're going to have some beer. There was a mention of a food truck and a bounce house that got pushed back, considering there's only 6 of us or 5 of us. But we're going to make the most of it. We're going to have a ton of ADP at our disposal, which means I will probably just get mocked, ridiculed, and
oh, dude, ADP means absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
In these things, no amount of research is going to help you, and it's basically just get your guys.
Correct.
If there's guys you believe in, go get them, because you're not getting your guy. You're not, the guy that you like is not falling to you.
Exactly. We see it. You and I were talking earlier. You can look at, there's 200 plus leagues in this thing going on, and you're always going to find a league that, is
a little softer.
Is that Kyler and Lamar that the person at 108 got both? How did Joe Burrow last to 13? Is that Najee at the beginning, at the end of the third round? All these things are going to happen. It's going to happen in some capacity. I've seen Matt Ryan taken with the first pick of the second round at the Atlanta live draft. And guess what? If Matt Ryan has a 68%, 70% completion percentage, Michael Pittman blows up and the offense is ran by Jonathan Taylor, and instead of him having 101 rushing first downs and 20 touchdowns, and Matt Ryan happens to find Michael Pittman on a few more, and he could be a top 15 quarterback. It wouldn't shock me in the least with his player, with the talent around him, kind of talent around him. Outside of Pittman, it kind of does diminish in the receiving game. But Mike, you got your thinking cap on? Perfect. Let's begin with question number one. And if you're listening right now or watching, I would love for you to chime in, comment your answer, and I will pit you up against Mike. And if someone, Sean, if you're watching and you want to take part in this and you want to answer,
see, he can Google. See,
yeah,
we won't be able to see if he Googles though.
that's true. So that's fair. But you know what? I don't care. Google away, Sean. Just but let's do it. Sean is a very civil man. He wants to win the right way. So question one is dating back to last year, well, 2 years ago, 2020. There are 3 defensive linemen that have more combined tackles than Aaron Donald. Can you name those 3 defensive linemen? I will give a hint in terms of, I will tell you the division, since there's so many of them that each one played in. One was in the AFC East, one was in the NFC East, and one was in the AFC North. Oh, hold on.
Okay, North is I'm going to say Cameron Hayward.
Yes, Cameron. Yeah, that's at the bottom there.
Yeah. Since 2010 or 20?
Since 2020.
All right, because it says 2010.
I meant 2020, so I'm going to go ahead and
AFC North, this. Yeah, Cameron Hayward, I'm going to say.
That's probably why I read that in my head wrong. So look at that. Boom.
Okay.
Look at my technology. It's amazing. Yes, Cameron Hayward is one of them.
So we have AFC East and NFC East.
We do. Sean with Sam Hubbard. Nope, Sam Hubbard is a great guess, not the answer.
We already got the AFC North one there, Sean.
That is true. That is true.
So NFC East, you have the Cowboys, you have the Giants, you have the Eagles, and you have the...
And it is not...
The Commanders.
NFC East, Jorge with Randy Gregory. We are now on to the correct answer. Which are the correct divisions? Which AFC East?
AFC
Another
East,
fun one.
Dolphins, Jets, Bills.
This was a very good dancer in college.
Oh God, Dan! The dude that did the splits.
That is correct.
Wilkins, Christian Wilkins.
Christian Wilkins, ding, ding, ding.
Jeez.
Fun little fact right now. Cameron Hayward in this entire span was number 1 in solo tackles with 83. Number 2 is Christian Wilkins with 77. Christian Wilkins, very underrated on the tackle scene, not to mention the 14 tackles for a loss as well. That number 3 is a tricky one, you guys. Here's
Jonathan Allen?
Is not Jonathan Allen. NFC East is correct. It is Sean, not Fletcher Cox. Here's a fun fact about this player. He is also the only person in this top 10 to have more assists than solo tackles. Now, if anybody got it because of that, liar, because nobody knew that. But I'm going to narrow it further. The New York Giants. First one to answer.
Williams. Leonard Williams?
Leonard Williams it is. Sean, I love the enthusiasm. Deron Payne, unfortunately, with this going back to 2020, I think it limits a lot of those. Jorge Randy Gregory's been hurt since 2019.
Hasn't he been hurt forever?
Cox was a great answer, but
yeah, it was going between. Yeah, he was on the tip of my tongue, and then I think you said
Payne
Giants.
Is actually he was up there. Deron Payne is 9th. DeForest Buckner was 5th. Here's a name that's interesting is Brian Burns at 14. All right, Mike, following up that question real quick, rapid fire. You got to keep, cut, trade those 3 guys. Redraft them.
So keep, cut, trade. I am I'm keeping Hayward. Trading Williams and I guess trading Wilkins and I guess cutting Williams.
Probably so. I think. I mean, they're all still. Cameron Hayward's the oldest of the bunch, but yet so productive. 2 interceptions last year, by the way,
Mhm.
which is just crazy to think that.
And
I mean, those are
Stephon
outstanding
Tuitt
stats.
retired. So I mean,
Exactly.
Stephon Tuitt retired. Although Ogunjobi is an interesting
I like
fill
that
in.
move.
That'll be an interesting defensive line there.
It will. Isaiah Loudermilk will probably not get a ton of credit. Isaiah
No,
Loudermilk,
Loudermilk is going to be
fan
quiet
of
milk.
ours.
He's
Mostly
going to be
because
Isaiah Quiet Milk, I think.
yes, he was drafted last year in our RT Sports IDP best ball tournament by Gary Van Dyke because the IDP ADP list, or their at least rankings,
Was it?
it's so weird, so bad. And it's not anything to do with RT Sports. I love RT Sports. I think they're a great product, but their ADP could use a little help. So Jeff or anybody else at RT Sports, if you happen to be listening and you would like any of our help from the members that Shoot the Gap, we would be more than happy to help you guys along the way, as long as it's not a conflict of interest for anybody else. With that being said, let's move on to question number 2. Question number 2 is this: only one defensive lineman had double-digit sacks, less than 30 combined tackles, and less than 10 tackles for a loss. The hint is he's now with his 4th team in the past 3 years. Who is this now AFC South defensive lineman?
Double-digit sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Was this last season?
This was last season that he had.
Okay.
Sacks.
Okay.
Yep. It's been a trend that we've seen from this specific player.
30 combined tackles.
I know Jorge knows this answer because he's recently
DeMarcus Lawrence.
Who?
Did DeMarcus Lawrence hit that?
It's not DeMarcus Lawrence. No, this is AFC South.
Oh, so, okay. And then he hasn't been on his 4th team in 3 years. AFC South.
I could tell you the teams, but I'll.
Well, no, you got
give
Colts,
you one more
Titans.
second.
A lot of
Colts
the defensive
right now.
lines have been pretty. A lot of defensive lines have been pretty steady.
The newest addition to the Indianapolis Colts, opposite Kwity Paye.
Oh, Colts. Okay. Ngakoue?
It is Yannick Ngakoue. Sorry, Sean. I was trying to lead you that direction. It is not Fowler, but it is Yannick Ngakoue. And that brings up an interesting conversation for defensive linemen. And guys, when we're drafting, I say, guys, it's just you. There it is. There it is, Sean. Better late than never. It is Yannick. What do we do with a defensive lineman who historically has low tackle rate and yet it's sack dependent? Do you want to invest in those guys that are sack dependent?
It's going to go back to your format. If you're playing in a best ball format, he's probably one of those really good best ball guys because he will have a couple of those blow up weeks. And when he busts, it won't matter. And then again, format scoring, like if you're only getting maybe half a point per solo or maybe half an assist or 1 point per all tackles, and you're getting like 4, 5, 6 points a sack and maybe 1 or 2 points for a tackle for loss, then he'll probably have some value. But if you're in kind of that balanced, or you're getting more than 1 tackle and more than 1 for assist, then you're probably going to just fill him out maybe at the end of your draft, or maybe he'll be a waiver wire guy.
Yeah, which I know this kills Jorge because he does like some Yannick Ngakoue, and we have Yannick in a league too. He says it in all caps like an old man would. We want him to know that he's screaming Yannick. Unfortunately, those given weeks will just be predicated and determined by the offensive line that he's going to go against, which is not a bad strategy to have. It's how I've done pretty much 90% of my offensive line work over the last years.
I mean, he was second on pressures. With the
Raiders
last
absolutely.
season. I mean, he was considerably second. I mean, there was a huge gap, but I mean, he had 63 pressures on 582 pass rush snaps, 10 hits, and I think he had 10 or 12 hits. I mean, he gets to the quarterback. It's basically a pass rush specialist.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And that's, that actually goes in. Here's a great segue, because what Yannick Ngakoue has is kind of the opposite of what this next member question did not, is this former NFC East and now AFC West defensive end had greater than 15 quarterback hits last year. He had a greater than 8% pressure rate, yet had less than 7 sacks on the season. So getting to the quarterback, at least, just not in time to make the sack.
Mhm.
Who was this? He was with the NFC East last year. He is with an AFC West team this year.
Oh, see, I was going to say Khalil Mack, but
And Mike, I'm sorry, I shouldn't do it. I want to give Sean the credit. Randy Gregory is the correct answer. He's like a buzz in.
Mhm.
But I want to ask you a question, Mike, since Sean doesn't have the luxury of answering. I guess he could comment. The arthroscopic shoulder surgery with Randy Gregory, is he a full avoid this year for you?
I'm not going to say an avoid. Maybe not as early as I would. And again, it kind of depends on what position designation he has.
True.
So if he's going to get a linebacker designation or if he's going to remain defensive end, then kind of depends on his. So, I don't think you're going to see him until the season starts, though.
Yeah. Does this make Nick Benito potential someone to pay attention to early, or do you think he still has to earn his?
I think he still has to earn his way. I mean, they're moving Baron Browning, I think, to the edge, and then you've still got. I think you still have Bradley Chubb.
Right.
You'll have Randy Gregory. They got Malik Reed. I think Malik Reed's an edge. Yeah. So I mean, there's quite a clogged path there.
That's true. Denver, as you mentioned, and a great point, something to pay attention to also, designation of the position. And Denver, historically, what we've seen is, especially with like MFL, where he'll be linebacker designated. And I don't want Randy Gregory as my, in my linebacker spot. I'm sorry. I like the player when healthy. I like the story. I don't like the sack heavy upside, and he has it. It just didn't show it last year necessarily on the one area to point out. Again, pinpoint and pick and choose the stats, and we can make any of these trivia questions or players look underrated, overrated, something to pay attention to.
Yep.
Moving on to our next question, and this is going to be utilizing PFF information, and it's per PFF. This NFC East defensive end / edge rusher was the only player with 10 sacks or more and a sub 10% win rate.
I'll just say Lawrence right off the bat.
It is not Lawrence.
Okay.
I will say one hint. He is a second-year player. Was a second-year player last year.
Young? No, not. Never mind. No, not Chase Young. Chase Young has never had double-digit sacks.
Should have probably had 10 sacks for the whole season.
It's 10 sacks. Second. So last year was the second year?
Correct. Yes. And I will say
Eagles, the Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. Commanders, second year.
And before I click Sean's comment, I will say New York Giants. I know it's out of sight. And I mentioned this trivia of Azeez Ojulari because I see a ton.
He
was.
No. I thought you. Never mind.
You thought I was saying he was a second-year player last year.
Yeah.
And that's what, very fair. I should,
because if you would have said, I thought he was. I thought
rookie last year.
Yeah.
And shame on me for not that. Again, part of the thing with trivia is you have to see. You listen to my ignorance sometimes. Sean is naive to how stupid I can be at times. So he was clever enough to look past that. But
give you the benefit of the doubt for being smart.
So let me ask you a question, Mike. When it comes to PFF ranks like that, and you look at win rate, and you see that the production was there, 10 sacks per PFF, 8 sacks per NFL scoring. Do you look at the win rate, and does that give you pause at all to think that maybe he was lucky, or is that just a metric that you kind of take?
No, for seeing something like that, I would want to see, okay, what were the sacks like? Were they unblocked? Did he get it unblocked? I mean, was it just like, did he get blocked and then plays broke down and he didn't necessarily beat the block within 2 seconds? It took him some time, and he just happened to get the sack because a play broke down. Was it a coverage sack? So when I don't necessarily, win rate is interesting. It's like, all right, well, this dude is really good, he's gonna and maybe blow up if he gets off of a snap or if he does something. But no, win rate is interesting, because you just want to look into the sacks, like like I said, is were they unblocked? And then how many of those were like coverage sacks where the play just broke down?
And so going a little step further, his TPS, or his true pass rush, was nearly was 17%. Now everybody's improves when you look at that, because that
takes out all of that.
But it is 17% better than the sub 10. It's one of those things that when I'm looking at one of the defensive ends in that area, it makes me not concerned about Azeez, but something to pay attention to. I don't see any improvements. The only thing I see different is Wink Martindale, what that can mean for that defense. And I don't know that answer exactly. His is more linebacker centric in terms of improvement on some of the blitz packages, etc. But speaking of blitzes, speaking of, I don't have any segue besides that. Should have said speaking of blitzes and went on. That's one of the issues. Is question number 5 is, yes, despite only playing 176 pass rush snaps exclusively, this former NFC North edge rusher recorded 6 sacks. Here is a hint. He is a former NFC North. He is now an AFC West edge rusher.
He's a former what?
NFC North.
Mack?
It is Khalil Mack. Only 176 pass rush snaps and 6 sacks. So, I mean, Khalil Mack, again, for like the second or third year in a row, production didn't mimic his actual play as far as that goes. And lo and behold, better late than never, is the most beautiful man in the room at all times. Hollywood.
Well, Mack only played 7 games.
Huh?
Only played 7 games.
I know. That's why he only had 176 pass rush snaps. That's what I'm saying. This is not a knock on Khalil Mack. This is a what's in store for Khalil Mack next week.
If he gets a full season.
Absolutely. So here's the question. Not, we can't say predicting with a full season or not. Hollywood Mike. Hollywood, welcome in. You have not missed anything. Sean is bringing it on the chat box as far as his guesses. Mike is questioning his Google knowledge and ability. I can see it. I don't question any of that.
Nate's asking the questions completely awful.
That is true too.
I
don't want it to make it too simple. I don't have expertise in this, but let me ask you guys this. Who is, as Sean says, Hollywood, he's donating the 2 points to you. Don't lose it from this point over. You have a beautiful prize in store for you. Sean, comment which team you are a fan of, and maybe I'll think of a consolation or a winning prize for you as well. All right, guys. Obviously, Khalil Mack's joining Joey Bosa on the opposite end of that nasty front. Who finishes 2022 with more sacks? Hollywood, start with you.
I think it's Mack.
Do you really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was after darn good start last year in Chicago, 6 through the first 7 games. So we've seen what Bosa does, with Ingram there. Now Ingram was kind of winding down at the time, but I still think Mac's a much better player than Bosa. So plus with what they're doing on the back end with those corners and safeties, that's going to be a big help too. So
that AFC West is just we all talk about the offenses in the AFC West and how dynamic they may be, and yet the defenses in the AFC West are far from slouches. I mean, Denver's always they probably take a step back this year in comparison, but overall, man, they just are good. So, Mike, what about you, man? Mac or Bosa?
I'm going to go contrarian and go Bosa.
There you go. Perfect. Then at the end of the day, and
can't agree with him. I can't agree with him.
Mr. Negative
half
here
the
thinks they
season?
both
Jesus.
missed half the season. Good Lord. Ooh, Sean, that's a rough one, my friend.
What is wrong with Sean? Loves injured players. Jesus.
Man, so angry. But that's he was channeling his inner Hollywood for that. And so Hollywood, welcome to Trivia Night 2022. Your first question, and you do not have to buzz in. It'll be just shouted out if you would like. Is this, speaking of limited snaps, this AFC West linebacker played in less than 300 total snaps. Yet, I need to finish the question, Mike, before you buzz in. I'm just kidding. I didn't even hear what you said either.
I said
he had a 15. What'd you say?
I said Jonas Griffith.
You were incorrect.
Okay.
I'll still give you more guesses.
Okay.
But he had a 15.2% tackle rate and yet a mere microscopic 2% missed tackle rate. AFC West linebacker.
Less than 300 snaps.
Willie Gay?
Nope. Great guess, though. But Gay unfortunately missed more tackles.
The Broncos.
Wouldn't be Josie Jewell, would it?
Nope, it would not.
You got the Broncos. You got the Raiders.
Oh, Hollywood, you want to tag in Sean for the answer?
Oh, come on.
Can you see these, Mike?
I do. Yeah, I see them.
Oh, hold on.
I will. This is probably painful because it is true. It is El Diablo, the devil, Divine Diablo. Guys, I know we have a lot of hype and a lot of, we love Divine Diablo, but 15.2% tackle rate, hyper efficient, probably not something sustainable necessarily. 2% missed tackle rate, again, hyper efficient, maybe not sustainable, but do we look at these two numbers and think all of our expectations of Diablo were correct and that he can be an LB2 overall for us? I mean, I don't want to assume an LB1 yet, but Mike, I know you're shaking your head and I know you like him. You're willing to do a dance.
No, I like him. I wrote him up as a breakup, but you do need to realize as snaps go up, the efficiency tends to come down a little bit. So if he gets 800 or 900 snaps, I'm probably saying he'll probably be within 11 or 12%. But I still think he has 100 tackle upside. But but yeah, as the snaps go up, typically efficiency tends to come down a little bit.
Exactly. Hollywood, we've talked about Divine Diablo. I know quite a bit. Anything extra to add to Diablo?
No, I mean, if you can play him as a defensive back, of course, that's where the values. That's the cheat code.
Exactly, which is amazing.
Am I allowed to write in comments or no?
You can write whatever you want.
Where do you write in comments? How do you write in the comments?
Go down to where it says post a comment at the bottom.
How come I don't see that?
I don't see
Go on the top right corner of your screen to where it says comments.
Yeah.
And at the bottom, it doesn't say post a comment.
I don't have that.
I don't
because I was just gonna write Sean, your band.
Oh. And Shauna's band. Sorry, Sean. You have.
If I had the ability to boot him, I would. But
I say we keep him. I like him.
Yeah.
He did tisk you for being late, Hollywood. Just so you know, not to throw him under the bus.
Well, that's fine. I sent the best possible replacement I could find.
That is true. You did, and he got some points. I don't think either one of you two are going to get this next question right because I am blown away because we talked about tackle rate. Divine Diablo's 15.2. We also talked about missed tackle rate. And we're going to speak of missed tackle rate in this particular question because this NFC North, Packers, Bears, Vikings, and Lions, outside linebacker / edge rusher was the only player at his position with over 500 snaps and a 0% missed tackle rate.
Edge rusher?
Edge rusher, yep.
Wow.
Gary?
It is Rashawn Gary.
Oh,
Very
wow.
good. Guys, Rashawn Gary just continues to add these little chips in terms of what I think of as
I beat you, Sean.
You did. Mike says he's passing along information for me to give to you. And it says, suck it, Sean. That is from Mike, not from your friends at Fantasy and Frames. He says there's a delay.
Not my fault.
Sounds like semantics. but
Can't
at the same
be held responsible for lack of data or information being
time, that is true.
sent across.
If you're listening, AT&T, get Sean a faster dial-up. His AOL is delaying
His 33.6
his
his
prize.
33.6 baud modem can't keep up.
Exactly. Sean, still have not told us who your favorite team is. If it's the Titans, I will give you Hollywood's prize that he is bound to not get. But Rashawn Gary, the superlatives continue to grow. Is as a defensive line, let's say he's not linebacker. Does he move up any higher in any rankings the more of these that we see and the more we build up this hype train, or is he kind of staying put from what you guys have expected? Hollywood, has Kyle infiltrated your brain to tell you Rashawn Gary is the best player in the world yet or not?
He's trying. I ignore him like always. So
That's fair.
wow, I did
That
not
is fair.
realize that he had the 0 missed tackles.
You know, I didn't either when I found that out.
That kind of shocked me.
Oh, he's a Dolphins fan. I'm not giving him any Tyreek Hill stuff. I feel
Yeah, I
like
wouldn't either.
I can find something.
Sean, your Zach Seiler jersey is on its way.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, and he didn't get Christian Wilkins early enough. Tisk, Sean. Christian Wilkins was all dialed up for you. Speaking of dialed up, this is a player that I've dialed up in a few different drafts because I just love the upside, or at least, if anything, the player as a whole. Who was the only linebacker / edge rusher to play 600 plus passing play snaps, not pass rush snaps, passing play snaps as a whole, and record double-digit sacks, yet didn't tally a single pass defense?
Landry?
He played 176 coverage snaps, by the way, out of the 600. Hint,
Landry?
it is. Look at, man, that is so
He's
fast.
on one.
I mean, it said
Harold.
AFC South, so that was one of the ones that was the first name that came to mind. So
Hollywood, you lose a point because that was geared towards you, and that was
Okay.
100% should have been an answer. But never fail, never fear. I have questions designed for you to make Mike feel inadequate as well.
and it's not
Harold
difficult.
Landry, though, guys, is there anything to take? That's terrible. God,
That's-
I'm so sorry. Sorry, Sean,
Oh.
you should not be listening to that. That is terrible. But guys, is there anything to take away?
Yeah, I was
from
poking
the zero
myself,
passes
poking fun
defense?
at myself on that one.
Oh, I know that. I
Okay.
know. But we don't. We love you. We don't want to see you do that. We want to see you build yourself up.
Oh no, I got to be taken down a few notches sometimes.
That is true. Hollywood, let me ask you a question. Do you take anything at all with the zero passes defense with an edge rusher? I mean, I'm picking. It's an ironic stat, right?
right.
Correct. I don't
No,
want anybody to think.
I mean, I'm sure there's more. I mean, that didn't have PBUs. You're right.
There's none that played more than 600 snaps that did.
True.
Here's a little
But
further.
I look at PBUs as bonus. bonus
Exactly.
points, bonus
If
plays
you're
for
looking at a
players.
guy like Landry who can get to the quarterback and get sacks, and if you're looking at him like, nah, I'm passing on him because he doesn't defend any he doesn't get those defended passes. It's like, okay, dude, whatever.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it too. I don't want to go in, but it's just, people sometimes paralysis by analysis. You
Mhm.
dig so deep and you find these crazy stats and you go, okay. Like, for instance, here's a name in a situation that I would take more credence in is Miles Jack. Miles Jack played 528 pass coverage snaps or passing snaps and didn't have a single pass defense.
Mhm.
Now, Miles Jack would be one that I would say, okay, that's something maybe to pay attention to a little bit more because he's more of the, he's not the edge rusher more so than just your traditional linebacker. But again, I got to pick and choose some of these, and I had to make them. I didn't want to make them so one-tiered or one binary questions. Here's a good one. This is two-parter. Well, two different answers. It gives you guys each a chance to answer. I hope that's the way it is. Only 2 linebackers last year played 1,000 or more snaps, yet didn't record a single sack. As you see, the hints are that one of the players was with the NFC East and the other was with the AFC South.
Played 1,000 snaps.
Wow, that's tough.
AFC South.
I feel like the NFC East ought to be obvious, and I know it's not.
Maddie wants to let you guys know that you both are doing decent and that I'm having a great show tonight.
Is it, and recorded 0 sacks?
Zero sacks.
1,000 snaps.
Alex Singleton is the NFC East.
Alex Singleton is not the NFC East.
All right.
Sean, you were wrong. You were on the right team.
Not Darius Leonard.
It is Darius Leonard. Not a single sack last year.
Wow.
I know.
He usually gets 3 or 4.
I'm telling you. And again, I use that as an outlier, but I think that's room for just to say, man, think how much of a better season Leonard could have had if you add those, 12 to 18 points for a sacks or whatever. Here's the other one. Hollywood, you might be lagging just a bit, which is okay because this other answer is not one that is exactly blowing people out of the water. NFC East.
Is it Tay Crowder?
It is Tay Crowder. That is excellent. Tay Crowder, Darius Leonard, 1,000 snaps, no sacks. Incredible. I mean, Tay Crowder, I don't care. The Darius Leonard one blew me away just when sorting through. But I would think that over under for Darius Leonard this year, 2.5 sacks. Hollywood?
I'll take the over.
Mike?
I'm going to take the under.
I love it. Hey, play to win the game. That's gamesmanship, my friends.
Hey, we're going prices right here. I'm going $1.
Damn right. Exactly. $1's gonna. I should probably write these down so that we know who's the winner. But everybody's a winner on this game because there are no losers unless you are this AFC North inside linebacker who had a missed tackle rate of 18.8%, leading all inside linebackers. On a positive note, though, he did have a solid 8.2% solo tackle rate. Who is this AFC North inside linebacker? I'm going to go on a limb and guess already who the first answer will be by one or both of you, and I'm going to tell you it's wrong.
Spillane?
Nope, that is not who I would have guessed you were going to guess.
Okay.
AFC
But I
North,
like that.
Patrick Queen.
That is the answer I was looking for. That is wrong.
Oh, it is. Oh, it's wrong.
That is the answer I expected you to both say. It is not Patrick Queen. Shockingly, you have now eliminated 2 of the AFC North teams. And Sean, again, that is wrong because I just
Pratt?
I was wrong when I saw that.
Jermaine
Shocked.
Pratt?
Huh?
Jermaine Pratt?
It is not Jermaine Pratt. You have now eliminated 3 of the AFC North teams. There's only one left.
Is he on a team
No.
this year?
Not Walker.
Nope. You're getting closer.
Schobert?
No, not closer. You're wrong team.
Oh,
Same
gotcha.
team that Mike was saying.
Gotcha.
Phillips?
Nope.
Not JOK.
It is JOK.
No way.
Yes,
Oh,
it
wow.
is.
Jesus.
JOK had an 18.8% missed tackle rate. Hollywood, I'll give you 3 seconds to laugh at Mike for his linebacker of the future.
Oh, I can't laugh too hard because he'll
I
probably.
can't
work
either
out.
because I was blown away by that. I didn't believe it. I had to double check a couple different sources,
Wow.
but
Yeah, that would have been probably my last guess. Wow.
Yes, Sean, correct. He is a joke. Oh, no, sorry. His name is J.O.
Oh, shots
He,
fired.
he needs to go back to. He has to wear number 6. Should go back to his Notre Dame number.
Hey, I will still take JOK. I think that
I would too.
the snaps will be
Yeah.
there. Does he get? Is it 850 snaps higher or lower than that, Mike?
That's kind of where I have him.
Okay.
What did he play last year?
Oh, he didn't play. He was hurt a few games and he didn't play. I think he barely. I want to say he barely hit 500. He was hurt a few games, and they didn't give him a whole lot to. They didn't put a whole lot on his plate at the beginning.
Yeah, 598 was his total snaps, by the
that's
way.
kind of what I figured. But I think I've got him at around 850.
Okay.
I think Phillips is the other guy that plays alongside him. I think Walker will be in on 3 linebacker sets, but I don't know. I'm reading a lot about Phillips and JOK together. So, but I could be totally wrong. The offseason, the training camp and preseason will be interesting.
It will be. And that's the one thing again, pay attention. I promise if you're listening now, we will cover all of these training camp battles, all of these situations. I know Hollywood, I know Mike will cover this exclusively at their respective Twitter pages and their respective sites, podcasts, etc. But I know we will have that covered as well, because I think that's the area that we're guessing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know some of these answers. We can only assume.
Right.
I can assume this next question is going to shock a couple of the people as like it did me. This AFC West linebacker led all linebackers with a 2.8% missed tackle rate.
2.8 missed tackle rate. AFC West.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that can't be right.
It is not the Chargers.
Well, I mean, we already said it, didn't we? Didn't we already say this guy?
I don't think so.
Nope. He led. This is a linebacker, true linebacker with the 2.8. He is not on the Raiders. He is not on the Broncos.
Nick Bolton.
It is Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton, coincidentally, led all linebackers with a 2.8% rate. And non-coincidentally, we are
Just curious where you got the info from.
Pro Football
Right here.
Reference.
It's a steel trap. I got it all right here.
Where'd you get it from?
Pro Football Reference.
Ah, okay. PFF has 4.9.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to use. I tried to use the missed tackle rate and those factors straight from the same source, so I can get a fair percentage. But yeah, you're right. PFF. I use some. That's why on the previous question, I think question number 3, I referenced PFF exclusively. Regardless, guys, a 4.4% and a 2.8%, both are excellent for a first-year linebacker. Makes us question why Spags would ever not put him on the field for the heavy majority and not see 900 plus snaps. But yet that's where we're at. We're a little concerned with that. I mean, I think we're coming along a little bit. The green dot, Mike, anybody listening, if you don't know, Mike is our smooth jazz / green dot aficionado and dance king. Sorry. There are no genders. We're We do not know that here. He, thee, we, she.
Yeah, Sean Singleton could only dream of a 2.8% tackle rate because I think he had 19 misses. He was really up there.
He was definitely up there,
and he wasn't an AFC West linebacker.
That is true too. Both of those factors. I'm looking for Singleton right now just to see because I know he has to be up there high in the missed tackles. And Singleton led all of the NFL with 20 missed tackles, but it was only a 12.7% missed tackle rate because, well, his tackle volume percentage threw that off. The 137 combo tackles helped out to keep that missed tackle percentage down just a little bit. But he did. Bolton did go head-to-head with Derrick Henry and won. Hey, Bolton's a stud. Hollywood will tell you. Last year, he was my preseason defensive rookie of the year, and he came through for me. It was a little homerism, but it is what it is. Here's what we do know. We all know, well, don't know if we all know, but you know because I'm putting this, that Micah Parsons led all rookies last year in sacks. But who finished second?
It wasn't Ojulari.
It was not Ojulari. He was third, I believe.
Was it the dude with Baltimore?
Nope. Great guess, though. I think he was fourth or fifth. AFC South. East. Sorry, AFC East.
Jalen Phillips.
Oh,
Jalen Phillips. Great guess. Here's the question for you two. Which rookie leads in sacks this year? Mike?
You know what? I'm gonna go contrarian because it'd be easy for me to say Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go contrarian, although I think it's probably gonna be one of those two, but I'm gonna go contrarian here. I'm gonna go Arnold Ebiketie.
Was our Ebiketie your guy?
No.
Is that who you're gonna say Hollywood too? No?
No.
Were you gonna say GK?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I was going to go Jermaine Johnson.
Okay. Hey, that's good. So now we got a little battle there. And both of which have a potential. I think the easy answer is Hutchinson. And so, Sean, you and Hollywood can split the Jermaine Johnson jersey that you guys will buy collectively and root on when he's fourth.
I think Mike is right, though. I think Thibodeau and Hutchinson are likely one of those are likely to
they're the Vegas favorites.
But contrarian's much more fun.
Yep.
You know, I mean, that is what it is, and that's okay. Guys, we already answered this. Not answered it, but I had it on here, and I realized it was redundant. Since we were speaking of rookie leaders, which rookie led the league in tackles last year?
Who the hell were the rookies last year?
Bolton again, ain't it?
It is. Yep. Bolton led in solo and combined. I asked that only so I can get your answers on this. Which rookie leads the league in tackles or leads rookies this year in tackles?
I'm going to say Devin Lloyd.
Okay.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be, I think, who carves out the biggest role. I mean, Christian Harris is a name that I've heard some people mention, I think is interesting. Nakobe Dean, but yeah, Devin Lloyd seems to be there. Let's pivot for the final two questions to the defensive back category. And we'll start, let's see real quick though. Maybe I missed. Sean says Nakobe Dean. All, great guesses. Who knows? But we're going to the defensive back route. And this AFC East safety led all defensive backs with 14 total pressures. Not to mention he had a very good 12.4% tackle rate. Who is this?
Brandon Jones?
Huh? It is Brandon Jones. Man.
Only reason why I knew that, I wrote him up as a defensive back breakout. So I have recency bias. I just wrote him up.
But that's great because that's actually – so I was talking with Jorge about this, and one of the things is that he mentioned the fact that there was concern within the defensive coaching room of how they want to use Brandon Jones going forward. Mm-hmm. And so I asked you two this. What do you think Brandon Jones is going to be going forward? I mean, number one, it's it's pretty amazing that here's a guy that played 624 snaps total. That's it. It wasn't like he played 1,000, and he had that 12% tackle rate, only a 2.3% pressure rate, despite having 14 pressures and getting to the quarterback. From a defensive back, 2.3 is actually not terrible. I mean, it's not great, but you get the idea. Was he hyper efficient, or is he potentially underrated going into this year? Hollywood, I'll start with you.
A little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah, that's fair.
If that makes sense. I mean, his missed tackle rate actually went up this year from last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess with how they're using him, with the pass rushing, that's pretty huge.
What did you say his pressure rate was?
Like 2.3%. Is that what it says here? Maybe
that doesn't seem right. I got 16.
Yeah.
Because if he got 14 pressures off of his.
You know what it is? I guarantee this is the algorithm. When we have this in our setting, I bet this is reverting back to just total snaps instead.
No, I mean, I got 18. Yeah, I got an 18%. Because I just based mine off of the pass rush snaps. So I see what you're saying.
It has to be. Yeah, it must have went back to total snaps. I apologize for that. 2.3 did sound really low. I was like,
yeah, I was like, dude.
Man, how is that? We'll go in, and I promise going forward, we will make changes to that so that the pressure rate is identified exclusively off of pass rush snaps, not just total snaps. But yeah, if you talk about pressure per total snap, not great, but no one ever is. So
yeah,
that's a stupid stat. No one wants to make that stat up. It's dumb. The final question of the evening is worth 1,000,000 points. Whoever gets it right, obviously, will take home the trophy. There is no trophy. You both will get a participation ribbon for participating. There were only 2 defensive backs last year that had 100+ tackles, 6+ tackles for a loss, and 10+ passes defensed.
Jesse Bates?
Jesse Bates is not in the hint.
Oh, you said South. Okay, sorry.
AFC South and NFC East.
NFC South.
NFC East. Nope, never mind.
Colts, Titans, Jaguars, Texans.
AFC South would be, is it Kenny Moore?
It is Kenny Moore. It is not Logan Ryan, Sean. The NFC East defensive back.
NFC East. That's
McKinney?
Nope. Good guess, though.
Curl?
Nope. Another good guess, though. You're getting closer. You're eliminated 2 of the teams.
Curse?
It is J-Ron Curse. Are we missing having J-Ron Curse higher overall, knowing that he's capable of stuffing the stat sheet like this?
Or
was this an outlier season? He's never done anything close to this before.
I mean, I've got Curse as within my top 20, so I think you can look at him as a DB1.
Yeah.
As a weekly DB1. So I don't think we're necessarily. I overlooked him a ton last season. I'm not overlooking him this year.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. But again, I'm not gonna pay for last year's numbers if he's going higher than most. I mean, if someone's going to take J-Ron Curse in, like, say the 9th, 10th, 11th round, I'm more than okay waiting till like the 16th or 17th and taking a chance on someone like Brandon Jones or a rookie like Nick Cross or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's the Cowboys will be interesting to see how they utilize, because last year they had to fit Keanu Neal into that defense a lot, and that was kind of like the Swiss Army knife that just fit certain holes. And I'll be interested to see how I think we know how they're going to use J-Ron Curse. I think we know he's going to be playing up in the box, and he's going to be kind of a stat stuffer, like we said. But Kenny Moore or J-Ron Curse, if you're on the clock in a vacuum, and both are available, who would you choose?
I think I'd take
Honestly, I think I'd probably even though I've got more rank. See, this is the thing of not going by my own rankings. Like I got more ranked higher, but I mean they're still relatively close. I don't know. I like I think I like the safety a little better.
Yeah. Hollywood?
I think I'd go more. It's close, but I think I'd go more.
Well, I couldn't think of a better way to end this on such a high note. Is that you three have three differing opinions of high, low, who's going to outproduce who. Should make for another just, I think, interesting season as this unfolds. Guys, what do we think of the trivia? Should we do something like this again sometime? Bring Jorge on and have you guys rub his face in the dirt with it?
Sure.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. I think that, we can nitpick certain categories and things like this to build a narrative, which is fun. But you guys did great. I think that, I don't know if this opened our eyes to any players or not, or more was just wow, look how much Nate can research and find a bunch of bullshit stats besides the pressure
Random
rate.
trivia questions.
I know. Jorge, I need to work on that pressure rate tab, if you would, for defensive backs. That is not accurate. And I looked like an idiot. An idiot, Jorge. I do not look like stupid.
Again,
what
not
you're
difficult.
slacking, mate.
It is true. I do it and make it look easy, as with most things. But saying goodbye is not easy, but I will do my best. Hollywood, goodbye, and say goodbye to your friends. Mike, goodbye. And I'm going to try to do this like Jorge would always do, as hit the button. And I don't know where it's at. So we're just going to go out on a high note, and we're going to play goodbye. This music. See ya.